The unexpected visitor. It was a quiet night in the small suburban neighborhood. The stars twinkled above, and the streetlights flickered softly. Everyone was asleep, except for Liam. He was a curious 15-year-old boy who loved watching sci-fi movies. He often dreamed about meeting aliens and exploring distant planets. As he looked out his bedroom window, something strange caught his eye. A bright flash of light shot across the sky, moving fast and low. It wasn't like any shooting star he had seen before. It looked more like a spaceship. Liam's heart raced with excitement. Without wasting a second, he grabbed his flashlight and ran outside. The cold night air made him shiver, but his curiosity pushed him forward. He followed the light to his backyard, where he saw something that left him speechless. There, half buried in his mom's flower garden, was a small round pod. It was silver and shiny, no bigger than a basketball. Blue lights blinked around its edges, and steam hissed from tiny vents. It looked like a futuristic capsule straight out of his favorite sci-fi movies. As Liam moved closer, the pod made a soft humming sound. Suddenly, the top of the pod opened with a hiss, and a small creature crawled out. It was the size of a cat, covered in soft, fluffy fur that glowed faintly in the dark. Its big round eyes sparkled like emeralds, and its tiny paws were gentle and delicate. The creature looked at Liam with an innocent expression, tilting its head to the side. It blinked slowly, then made a soft, purring sound. Liam couldn't believe his eyes. It was the cutest thing he had ever seen. "Whoa, are you an alien?" Liam whispered, his voice trembling with excitement. The creature responded with a cheerful chirp and took a step toward him. It stumbled slightly, as if it was weak or injured. Liam's heart melted. It looked so small and helpless. Without thinking, Liam reached out his hand. "It's okay, little guy. I won't hurt you." The creature sniffed his fingers, then rubbed its furry head against his palm. Its fur was warm and soft, like a cozy blanket. Liam smiled, feeling an instant connection. "You must be lost," Liam said, gently picking up the creature. It was light as a feather and curled up comfortably in his arms. "I'll take care of you." He carried the alien inside his house, moving quietly so he wouldn't wake his parents. In his room, he made a small bed out of his old blankets and placed the creature on it. It curled up like a cat and closed its eyes, purring softly. Liam sat beside it, his eyes wide with wonder. "This is crazy. I actually found an alien," he whispered, feeling like the hero of his favorite sci-fi movies. But as the night went on, strange things began to happen. The lights in his room flickered, even though there was no storm. His computer screen flashed random codes, and his alarm clock started beeping wildly before shutting off. Liam looked around, confused. "What's going on?" he muttered, checking his devices. Everything seemed normal again. Then he noticed the creature's fur glowing brighter. Its eyes opened slightly, revealing a red fiery light that flickered before fading back to the innocent emerald green. Liam felt a chill run down his spine. The creature looked cute and harmless, but something about that red glow felt dangerous. As Liam watched the creature sleep, he couldn't help but wonder, was it really as innocent as it looked? Or was it hiding something much more powerful and dangerous? Before he could think any further, the creature's eyes snapped open. It stared at Liam, its emerald eyes glowing eerily. Its mouth opened, and a deep, echoing voice filled the room. "Your world is not safe anymore." Liam's heart stopped. He stumbled backward, his body shaking with fear. The creature's eyes dimmed, and it closed them once more, returning to its cute, sleeping form. It looked so innocent, like nothing had happened. But Liam knew better. His peaceful, boring life had just turned into something out of his wildest dreams, or nightmares. The true form revealed. Liam couldn't sleep. He lay in his bed, his eyes fixed on the small, fluffy creature curled up in the corner of his room. It looked so innocent, its soft fur rising and falling gently as it slept. But he couldn't forget the voice, that deep, echoing voice that had warned him. Your world is not safe anymore. His room was quiet, too quiet. The silence felt heavy, almost suffocating. Every shadow seemed to move, and every creak made his heart jump. He stared at the creature, his mind racing with questions. Was it really harmless? Or was it something far more dangerous? The clock on his wall showed 3:00 a.m., but sleep was the last thing on his mind. He sat up slowly, trying not to make a sound. His eyes never left the creature as he tiptoed across the room. He reached out his hand, his fingers trembling as he gently poked its fur. The creature didn't move. It just kept sleeping, its body curled up in a tiny ball. Liam let out a sigh of relief. Maybe he was just overthinking. Maybe he was just tired and imagining things. But then the room grew colder. A strange humming sound filled the air, low and steady, like a heartbeat. The creature's fur began to glow, faint at first, but growing brighter. Liam's heart raced as the glow turned red, like burning embers. He took a step back, his eyes wide with fear. The creature's body started to change. Its fluffy fur melted away, revealing sleek, metallic armor underneath. Its tiny paws stretched into sharp claws, and its eyes were no longer innocent. They were fiery red, burning with intensity. The creature stood up, its body transforming before Liam's eyes. It grew taller, its back straightening as it took on a humanoid shape. Its armor gleamed in the dim light, etched with ancient symbols that glowed with a golden hue. Liam stumbled backward, his back hitting the wall. "Whoa, what are you?" The creature turned to face him, its fiery eyes locking onto his. Its mouth opened, and that deep, echoing voice spoke again. But this time, it was louder, more powerful. "I am Saruk, warrior of the Crimson Legion," it said, its voice cold and commanding. "And your world is in grave danger." Liam's legs felt like jelly. He wanted to run, to scream, but his body was frozen with fear. Saruk took a step closer, its metallic armor clinking with every movement. It stood over Liam, its shadow swallowing him whole. "You took me in," Saruk continued, its fiery eyes narrowing. "For that, I owe you my protection. But now, you are part of this war." "Do we war? What war?" Liam stammered, his voice barely a whisper. Saruk's eyes flickered, a hint of pain flashing across its face. "I was sent to this planet to escape my enemies, the Shadow Wraiths. They are ruthless hunters, masters of deception. They will stop at nothing to find me, and destroy everything in their path." Liam's mind spun. Shadow Wraiths. Ruthless hunters. This was all too much. Why? Why are they after you? Saruk's gaze hardened. "Because I carry the Star Core, a powerful artifact that can control the fabric of reality. In the wrong hands, it can destroy entire worlds. That is why they want me. And why they will come for this planet." Liam's heart sank. His small, quiet life had just turned into a nightmare. An alien warrior in his room, shadow creatures coming to destroy Earth. It sounded like something out of his favorite sci-fi movies. But this was real. Too real. A loud crash echoed from outside, followed by a deep, inhuman growl. Liam's blood ran cold. Saruk's head snapped toward the window, its fiery eyes blazing. "They're here." Without warning, the window shattered as a dark, shadowy figure burst into the room. Its body was black as night, its form shifting like smoke. Its eyes were hollow, glowing with a sickly green light. It moved unnaturally, its limbs bending and twisting as it crawled toward them. Saruk's armor glowed, and golden energy crackled around its body. "Stay behind me," it ordered, its voice fierce and protective. Liam didn't need to be told twice. He ducked behind his bed, his heart pounding so loudly he was sure the creature could hear it. The Shadow Wraith hissed, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. "Give us the Star Core, or perish." Zarak's eyes narrowed, its stance firm and ready. Over my dead body. The air grew heavy as the two enemies faced each other. Sparks of energy crackled around them, shaking the room. Liam's posters flew off the walls, and his books tumbled from the shelves. The shadow wraith lunged, its body stretching unnaturally as it attacked. Zarak moved with lightning speed, its metallic armor shimmering as it deflected the attack. The room filled with flashes of light as golden energy collided with dark shadows, their powers clashing in a dazzling display. Liam watched in awe and terror. This was no ordinary fight. It was like a battle between gods, their strength shaking the very ground beneath them. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Just hours ago, he was an ordinary kid. Now, he was caught in the middle of an intergalactic war. Zarak swung its arm, golden blades extending from its armor. It sliced through the shadow wraith's body, but the creature simply reformed, its shadowy limbs twisting and bending back into shape. It cackled, its hollow eyes glowing brighter. "You cannot kill what has no form," it taunted, its body spreading across the room like smoke. Zarak growled, its armor glowing fiercely. "Then I will destroy your very essence." Golden energy burst from Zarak's body, filling the room with light. The shadow wraith screamed, its form writhing as the light burned through its darkness. With one final, agonizing shriek, it vanished, leaving behind a trail of black smoke that faded into the air. Zarak stood there, its chest rising and falling heavily. Its armor dimmed, the glow fading as the energy dispersed. It turned to Liam, its fiery eyes softening. "They will keep coming," Zarak said, its voice heavy with exhaustion. "As long as the star core is on this planet, they will never stop." Liam swallowed, his body trembling. "Then, what do we do?" Zarak looked out the shattered window, its gaze distant and determined. "We fight. We protect this world. Together." Liam's fear melted away, replaced by a spark of courage. He didn't fully understand what was happening, but one thing was clear: his life would never be the same again. Escape and pursuit. The night air was cold and sharp, biting at Liam's skin as he ran. His lungs burned, his legs ached, but he didn't dare stop. Not with those things chasing them. Shadows moved unnaturally fast, twisting and crawling across the ground like liquid smoke. Their hollow green eyes locked onto him, unblinking and hungry. Zarak moved ahead of him, its armor glowing faintly as it sliced through the darkness with precision and speed. Liam struggled to keep up, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. Every step felt heavier, the fear pulling at his limbs, slowing him down. But Zarak's commanding voice kept him moving. "Faster, Liam. They won't stop until we're dead." They dashed through backyards, leaping over fences and dodging trash cans. The quiet suburban neighborhood now felt like a maze, each turn leading them deeper into danger. The streetlights flickered, shadows dancing along the walls. Liam could hear the whispers, eerie, echoing whispers that seemed to crawl inside his mind. He stole a glance behind him and wished he hadn't. The shadow wraiths were gaining on them, their bodies shifting and twisting like smoke. Their limbs stretched unnaturally, reaching out with clawed fingers that scraped against the ground, leaving deep, dark marks that sizzled with green energy. What are those things?" Liam gasped, his voice trembling. Zarak's eyes blazed with golden fire as it looked back. Shadow wraiths, creatures of darkness, born from the void. They are hunters, trackers, and they never miss their prey. Liam's stomach twisted. "Great, just great," he muttered, his legs burning as he forced himself to run faster. The wraiths let out a high-pitched screech, their bodies shifting and swirling like smoke as they lunged forward. One of them leaped, its claws extended, aimed straight for Liam's back. Zarak's armor glowed brighter, and in a flash, it spun around, golden blades extending from its wrists. It swung with deadly precision, slicing through the wraith's body. The creature screamed, its form splitting into shadows that dispersed into the air. But the victory was short-lived. Two more wraiths took its place, their green eyes glowing brighter. "Keep moving," Sarak shouted, grabbing Liam's arm and pulling him forward. They rounded a corner, racing down an alleyway littered with garbage bags and broken bottles. The walls were narrow, pressing in on them as they ran, but there was no time to think, no time to breathe. The wraiths were closing in, their whispers growing louder, filling the air with haunting echoes. Sarak's armor flickered, the golden light dimming. Liam noticed the warrior's movements slowing, its breathing ragged and heavy. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice laced with worry. Sarak shook its head, its fiery eyes dimming. "My energy is running low. I can't keep fighting like this." Liam's heart sank. If Sarak couldn't fight, they were doomed. The wraiths were too strong, too fast. There was no way they could escape. But then, an idea sparked in his mind. It was crazy, reckless, and probably suicidal. But it was the only chance they had. "This way," Liam shouted, taking the lead as he dashed down another alley, his feet pounding against the pavement. He turned sharply, running toward an old construction site. Rusted metal beams stood tall, half-finished walls crumbling under the weight of time. It was abandoned, empty, the perfect place for a trap. Sarak followed, its movements sluggish but determined. "What are you planning, human?" Liam didn't answer. He led them deeper into the construction site, weaving through piles of debris and broken tools. The wraiths followed, their screeches echoing off the walls, growing closer and closer. They reached a dead end, a half-built room with no windows and only one entrance. Liam turned, his back against the wall, his eyes wide with fear and determination. "We make our stand here," he said, his voice trembling. "They can only come in from one direction. If we fight together, maybe we can stop them." Sarak's eyes flickered with surprise, then approval. "Clever. I didn't expect such courage from you." It stood beside Liam, its armor crackling with golden energy. "We fight together." The air grew colder as the wraiths appeared at the entrance, their bodies shifting and swirling like shadows. There were 6 of them, their green eyes glowing with malice. They hissed, their whispers echoing through the room, twisting Liam's thoughts, filling his mind with fear and despair. But he didn't back down. Not this time. Not with Sarak standing by his side. The wraiths lunged, their claws extending as they attacked in unison. Sarak moved like lightning, its golden blades slicing through the darkness. Sparks of energy flew as shadows clashed with light, the impact shaking the walls. Liam grabbed a metal rod from the debris, swinging wildly as one of the wraiths lunged at him. The creature's body passed through the rod like smoke, its twisted face grinning as it slashed at Liam's arm. Pain shot through him, his skin burning as dark energy pulsed through the wound. He cried out, stumbling backward, but Sarak was there, its golden armor blazing as it struck the wraith, vaporizing it into smoke. "They can't be harmed by physical weapons," Sarak warned, its voice trained. "Only light, only energy can destroy them." Liam's eyes widened. How were they supposed to win if only Sarak could fight? But then, he remembered something Sarak had said earlier, that its energy was running low. If only there was a way to recharge it. His eyes fell on the broken construction lights scattered around the room. An idea sparked. "Sarak, can you absorb electrical energy?" Sarak hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, but it's risky. The energy is unstable, not pure. It could destroy my core." "We don't have a choice," Liam shouted, his voice firm. "It's either that, or we die." Sarak looked at him, its fiery eyes flickering. It nodded, a fierce determination burning within. "Very well. Do it." Liam scrambled to the lights, his hands shaking as he connected the wires. Sparks flew as he pulled the switch, the lights buzzing with electricity. "Here goes nothing." He aimed the lights at Sarak. the energy surging through the wires. Zarok's armor absorbed the electricity, its golden light blazing brighter and brighter. The wraiths screamed, their shadows recoiling from the light, their bodies burning and sizzling. Zarok's voice echoed with newfound power. "Begone, creatures of darkness." It unleashed a wave of golden energy, filling the room with light. The wraiths howled, their forms shattering into smoke before fading into nothingness. The light dimmed, the room falling silent once more. Zarok stood tall, its armor still glowing softly. It looked at Liam, a rare smile crossing its face. "You are braver than I thought, human." Liam leaned against the wall, his body aching and his mind spinning. "Yeah, well, you're pretty cool yourself." But their victory was short-lived. The ground shook, and a deep, rumbling voice echoed through the air. "You cannot escape. Not from me." Liam's blood ran cold. Whatever was coming was far worse than the wraiths. The alliance of enemies. The ground trembled beneath their feet, cracks forming in the dusty floor as the air grew heavy. A cold, dark mist seeped into the room, twisting and curling like serpents. The temperature dropped, and Liam felt a chill that reached deep into his bones. He looked at Zarok, who stood motionless, its fiery eyes wide with shock. What is that?" Liam whispered, his voice trembling. Zarok's voice was low, filled with fear. "He's here, the Shadow Warlord." The shadows swirled, gathering in the center of the room, growing darker and denser. They twisted and contorted, taking form, shaping into something monstrous. Two enormous, glowing green eyes opened, filled with malice and hatred. The creature stood tall, its body made of swirling shadows, its limbs long and jagged. Its face was a twisted mask of darkness, grinning with sharp, pointed teeth. Liam's heart raced, his knees shaking as the creature spoke, its voice deep and echoing, like 1,000 whispers overlapping. "You dare defy me, Zarok. You think you can escape with the Star Core." Zarok's armor glowed fiercely, golden energy crackling around its body. "I will never let you have it, Shadow Warlord. Not while I still draw breath." The Warlord's grin widened, its eyes narrowing. "Then you shall have no breath left to draw." Without warning, it lunged forward, its shadowy claws slicing through the air. Zarok moved swiftly, golden blades extending from its wrists as it met the attack head-on. Sparks of energy flew as light clashed with darkness, the impact shaking the room. Liam stumbled back, his body slamming against the wall. He could barely keep up with their movements. Zarok and the Warlord moved at lightning speed, their forms blurring as they exchanged blows. The golden light from Zarok's armor flickered, struggling to withstand the Warlord's dark power. The Warlord's laughter echoed through the room, cold and cruel. "You grow weak, Zarok. The Star Core drains your strength. Soon, you will be nothing but dust." Zarok gritted its teeth, its fiery eyes blazing. "I will not fall. Not to you." It unleashed a wave of golden energy, the light exploding outward, forcing the Warlord back. But the shadows reformed, twisting and swirling around the golden light, consuming it. Liam's heart sank. The Warlord was too powerful. Zarok couldn't win. Not alone. The Warlord's body shifted, growing larger, its limbs stretching and twisting. It raised a massive clawed hand, the shadows swirling around it like a tornado. It brought its hand down with terrifying speed, aiming straight for Zarok. Lion's body moved on instinct. He grabbed a piece of metal debris and threw it with all his strength, the object spinning through the air, before striking the Warlord's face. The impact was small, barely a scratch, but it was enough to distract the creature. Zarok seized the moment, rolling out of the way as the Warlord's claw slammed into the ground, shattering the floor into pieces. Liam's eyes widened as the floor collapsed beneath them, the ground crumbling as they fell into darkness. He screamed, his body tumbling through the air. The world spun around him, shadows swirling as he fell deeper and deeper. His stomach twisted, his heart racing. And then, impact. Liam hit the ground hard, pain shooting through his body. He groaned, struggling to move. His vision was blurry, his head throbbing. As his eyes adjusted, he realized they were underground, in a vast cavern lit by a faint, eerie glow. The warlord's laughter echoed from above, its twisted face peering down from the hole in the ceiling. "Run as you like. You cannot escape your fate. I will consume you, and the star core will be mine." Its body dissolved into shadows, vanishing from sight. Liam's chest heaved, his breaths ragged and uneven. He forced himself to his feet, his legs wobbling beneath him. He looked around, his eyes widening as he took in the cavern. It was enormous, the walls covered in ancient symbols that glowed with a ghostly blue light. The air was cold, heavy with a dark energy that made his skin crawl. Tarak lay nearby, its armor flickering as it struggled to stand. Liam rushed to its side, his hands shaking as he helped the warrior up. "Are you okay?" Sarak's eyes dimmed, its body slumped. "I am weakened. The star core, it drains my energy. I cannot fight him like this." Liam's heart sank. If Sarak couldn't fight, then they were doomed. He looked around, his mind racing. There had to be a way out. But before he could move, he heard footsteps. Slow, steady footsteps echoing through the cavern. He spun around, his eyes widening as a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was another alien, taller than Sarak, with silver armor that shimmered with blue light. Its face was sharp, angular, its eyes glowing with a cold, piercing light. It moved gracefully, its steps silent and calculated. Sarak's body tensed, its eyes narrowing. "No, it can't be." Vorin. The silver-armored alien's gaze softened, a hint of pain in its eyes. "It has been a long time, Sarak." Liam looked between them, his confusion growing. "Wait, you know him." Sarak's voice was cold, filled with anger. "He is my greatest enemy, the one who betrayed me. The one who brought the shadow wraiths to our world." Vorin's expression hardened. "I did what I had to do. For our people. You were too blinded by honor to see the truth." Sarak growled, its armor crackling with golden energy. "You sold your soul to the darkness. You became the warlord's puppet." Vorin's eyes flickered with pain. "And yet, here I stand, offering you an alliance." Liam's jaw dropped. "What? You want to help us?" Vorin's gaze shifted to Liam, his eyes cold and calculating. "The warlord's power grows stronger every day. He seeks the star core not just for conquest, but to consume all life. If he succeeds, even I will be destroyed. If you want to survive, we must fight together." Sarak's fists clenched, its fiery eyes burning with rage. "I would sooner die than trust you." Vorin stepped forward, his body radiating a cold, blue light. "Then we are all doomed. The warlord is too powerful to fight alone. Even you cannot defeat him, not without my help." The cavern fell silent, the air heavy with tension. Sarak's body trembled, its armor flickering as it struggled to stand. Liam looked at Sarak, then at Vorin, his heart pounding. They were enemies, bitter rivals with a dark history, but if they didn't work together, they were all going to die. Liam took a deep breath, his voice firm. "We don't have a choice. Sarak, we need him, if we want to survive." Sarak looked at him, its eyes filled with conflict. Then, with a heavy sigh, it nodded. "Very well, but if you betray us, Vorin, I will kill you myself." Vorin's lips curled into a small, bitter smile. "I would expect nothing less, old friend." The hidden power. The cavern walls pulsed with a faint, eerie blue light, the ancient symbols etched into the stone glowing softly. Liam stood between Sarak and Vorin, the air heavy with tension. His heart raced as he watched the two warriors glare at each other, their eyes burning with old hatred and bitterness. Zaruk's armor crackled with golden energy, its fists clenched tightly. "I still don't trust you, Vorin. You betrayed our world, our people. You sold your soul to the warlord." Vorin's eyes flickered with pain, his voice cold and steady. "I did what was necessary. You were too blinded by honor to see the truth. Our people were dying. We needed power to survive." Sarek growled, its body trembling with anger. "And you chose the path of darkness. You became his puppet, his servant." Liam stepped between them, his arms outstretched. "Enough. We don't have time for this. The warlord is coming. If we keep fighting each other, we're all going to die." The cavern fell silent, the air growing colder. Zarek's eyes softened as it looked at Liam, its body relaxing. Vorin's gaze shifted to the ground, his expression bitter. "He's right," Vorin admitted, his voice heavy. "The warlord grows stronger every day. If we don't work together, he will consume this world, and then he will move on to the next, until nothing is left." Sarek looked away, its shoulders slumping. "I still don't trust you, but I cannot fight him alone." "Very well. An alliance. But know this, Vorin, the moment you betray us, I will end you." Vorin nodded, his face grim. "I would expect nothing less." Liam let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "Okay, so how do we stop him?" Vorin's eyes glowed with a cold blue light. "The star core. It is the key and the curse." He turned to Sarek, his gaze sharp. "You carry it within you, don't you?" Sarek hesitated, its body stiffening. "Yes, but it drains my energy. It is powerful, but unstable. I cannot control it." Vorin's face darkened. "That is because you are using it wrong. The star core was not meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be a bridge between light and darkness, between life and death." Liam's head spun. "A bridge? What does that even mean?" Vorin's eyes softened. "The star core is alive. It feeds on energy, on the very essence of existence, but it is incomplete. It needs a bond, a connection, to reach its full potential." Sarek's eyes widened. "You mean, it needs a host?" Vorin nodded. "Not just any host, a guardian. Someone who can balance light and darkness. Someone with a pure heart and an unbreakable will." His gaze shifted to Liam, his eyes narrowing. "And that is you." Liam's heart stopped. "Me? No, no way. I'm just a kid. I don't have any powers. I don't even know what's going on." Vorin stepped closer, his face serious. "You were chosen the moment you took Sarek in. The Star Core responded to you. It recognized your spirit. You are the guardian, the bridge it needs." Sarek looked at Liam, its eyes wide with shock. "That's why. I felt it too. Your courage, your determination. Even when you were afraid, you stood by my side. You saved me, even when you didn't have to." Liam's legs felt weak, his body shaking. I don't know if I can do this. I'm not strong like you. I'm just me." Vorin's gaze softened. "Strength is not just about power. It is about heart. And you have more heart than any warrior I've ever known." Liam looked at his hands, his fingers trembling. Could he really do this? Could he really save the world? The cavern shook, dust falling from the ceiling as the ground trembled. A deep, echoing voice filled the air, cold and cruel. "You think you can defy me. You think you can escape." The shadows twisted, swirling around the room as the warlord appeared, his enormous body towering over them. His green eyes glowed with hatred, his mouth twisting into a wicked grin. "Pathetic. You are nothing but insects, insects to be crushed beneath my heel." Zarek and Vorin stood side by side, their bodies tense. Golden and blue energy crackled around them, their powers surging as they prepared to fight. But Liam could see the fear in their eyes. They were strong, but the warlord was stronger. The warlord laughed, his voice echoing off the cavern walls. The star core will be mine. I will consume its power, and I will consume your world. Liam's chest tightened, his heart pounding. He couldn't let that happen. He couldn't let this monster destroy everything, everyone he loved. His fear melted away, replaced by a fierce determination. He stepped forward, his fists clenched, his eyes blazing. No, I won't let you win. I won't let you hurt anyone else. The warlord's eyes narrowed, his grin fading. You dare defy me? A mere human. Liam's body glowed, a golden light surrounding him. It was warm, powerful, familiar. It was the same light he had seen in Xarak, the same energy that had saved him before. But this time, it was coming from him. Voran's eyes widened. The bond, it's awakening. He really is the Guardian. Xarak's voice was filled with awe. Incredible. His spirit is merging with the star core. Liam felt the power coursing through him, filling his body with strength. The fear was gone, replaced by courage and hope. He looked up at the warlord, his voice steady and strong. I'm not afraid of you. The warlord roared, his body swelling with darkness. Then you will die with them. He lunged forward, his massive claws slicing through the air. But Liam didn't move. He didn't flinch. He stood his ground, his body glowing brighter, the golden light surrounding him like a shield. The warlord's claws slammed into the light, sparks flying as darkness met light. The impact shook the ground, but Liam didn't budge. The warlord's face twisted with rage. Impossible. No human has this power. Liam's eyes burned with determination. I'm not just a human. I'm the Guardian. He raised his hand, the golden light gathering around him, swirling like a vortex. The cavern walls shook, the ancient symbols glowing brighter as the light grew stronger. Xarak and Voran stepped back, their faces filled with awe. Liam's power was incredible, overwhelming, and beautiful. The warlord screamed, his body twisting and writhing as the light consumed him. No, no, this cannot be. I am eternal. I am darkness. Liam's voice was calm, steady, and I am the light. He unleashed the energy, the golden light exploding outward, filling the cavern with brilliance. The darkness shattered, the shadows burning away as the warlord's form disintegrated, his screams fading into nothingness. The light dimmed, the cavern falling silent. Liam stood there, his body glowing softly, his eyes filled with resolve. The battle was far from over, but the Guardian had awakened. The final showdown. The ground trembled beneath their feet, the ancient symbols on the cavern walls glowing fiercely as the air crackled with energy. Liam stood at the center, his body surrounded by a golden aura, his eyes blazing with newfound power. Xarak and Voran stood by his side, their weapons drawn, their faces determined. Across from them, the Shadow Warlord loomed, his massive body swirling with darkness. His green eyes burned with fury, his mouth twisting into a cruel snarl. Shadows curled around his limbs, his form shifting and contorting as his power surged. You dared defy me. The warlord's voice echoed, cold and menacing. You dared challenge the master of shadows. Liam's body glowed brighter, his golden aura pulsing with energy. He took a step forward, his voice steady and strong. You tried to destroy my world. You hurt my friends. You threatened everything I care about. I won't let you win. The warlord's laughter was cold, hollow. You are but a child, a mere human. You think you can stand against me. I am darkness. I am eternal. The shadows around him surged, twisting and swirling as they gathered into his body. His form grew larger, his limbs stretching and contorting as his power intensified. His green eyes blazed with hatred, his mouth opening to reveal rows of jagged teeth. I will consume you, and the star core will be mine. Xarak stepped forward, its armor glowing with golden energy. Not while I still draw breath. Voron's eyes gleamed with blue light as he raised his sword, the blade humming with power. And not while I stand by his side. The warlord's eyes narrowed. Then you shall die together. Without warning, he lunged forward, his massive claws slicing through the air. Shadows erupted from his body, stretching and twisting as they lashed out like whips. The air grew cold, the darkness suffocating as the cavern shook under his power. Xeruk moved with lightning speed, his golden blades flashing as he deflected the shadows. Sparks flew as light clashed with darkness, the impact shaking the ground. Voron darted forward, his movements swift and precise as he struck at the warlord's limbs, his blade slicing through the shadows. Liam stood at the center, his golden aura blazing. He could feel the power of the star core within him, its energy flowing through his body. It was warm, bright, and familiar, but also overwhelming. It pulsed in his chest, strong and fierce, ready to be unleashed. The warlord's shadows twisted, reforming as they lashed out again. Voron swung his blade, his eyes glowing with blue light as he cut through the darkness. Xeruk's armor blazed with golden energy as he struck back, his blades slicing through the shadows. But the warlord was relentless. His body shifted and twisted, his limbs stretching as his shadows filled the room. He laughed, his voice cold and cruel. You cannot destroy me. I am the void. I am nothing. And nothing cannot be destroyed. Liam gritted his teeth, his fists clenched. You're wrong. Nothing can't be destroyed, but darkness can be banished by light. His body glowed brighter, the golden aura pulsing around him. The star core's energy surged within him, growing stronger, more powerful. He could feel it calling to him, urging him to release its power. Xeruk and Voron fought fiercely, their movements swift and deadly. But the warlord was too strong, his shadows endless, his power overwhelming. They were being pushed back, their energy draining as the darkness surrounded them. Liam's chest tightened as he watched his friends struggle. He couldn't stand by and watch them suffer. He couldn't let the warlord win. He closed his eyes, his body trembling as he focused on the energy within him. He reached out to the star core, feeling its warmth, its light. The cavern shook as his aura blazed brighter, the golden light filling the room. His eyes snapped open, glowing with golden fire. He raised his hands, the energy swirling around him like a vortex. I won't let you hurt them. I won't let you hurt anyone. The light exploded outward, filling the room with brilliance. The shadows recoiled, burning and sizzling as the light touched them. The warlord screamed, his body twisting as the light tore through his darkness. His green eyes blazed with rage, his voice echoing with hatred. No, this cannot be. I am eternal. I am darkness. Liam's voice was firm, unwavering. You are nothing, and you have no power over the light. The golden light surged, wrapping around the warlord's body, constricting him. The shadows writhed and twisted, fighting against the light, but they couldn't break free. The ancient symbols on the cavern walls glowed brighter, their blue light merging with Liam's golden aura. The warlord's body began to disintegrate, his form unraveling as the light consumed him. He screamed, his voice echoing with pain and fury. No, no, I am the void. I am the end. Liam's eyes burned with determination. And I am the light that ends your darkness. He unleashed the full power of the star core, the golden light exploding outward. The cavern shook, the ground cracking as the energy surged through the walls. The ancient symbols blazed with light, their power resonating with the star core's energy. The warlord's body shattered, his shadows burning away as his form dissolved into nothingness. His screams echoed through the cavern, fading into silence as his darkness was erased. The light dimmed, the cavern falling silent once more. The symbols on the walls flickered, their glow fading as the energy dispersed. Liam stood at the center, his body surrounded by a soft golden light. His chest heaved, his breaths ragged and uneven. He looked around, his eyes wide with disbelief. It was over. The warlord was gone, defeated. Xerek and Vorin stood by his side, their faces filled with awe. Xerek's voice was soft, reverent. "You did it. You defeated him." Vorin's eyes were wide with shock. Incredible. His power surpassed even the guardians of old. Liam looked down at his hands, his body trembling. He could still feel the Star Core's energy within him, warm and powerful. It was part of him now, a part of his very soul. The ground shook, dust falling from the ceiling as the cavern began to crumble. Vorin's voice snapped him back to reality. "We need to get out of here. This place won't hold for much longer." Xerek nodded, its armor glowing as it activated a portal. A golden gateway appeared, swirling with light. "This will take us back to your world, Liam. We need to leave. Now." Liam looked at the portal, his heart pounding. His world, his home. He turned to Xerek and Vorin, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you for standing by my side." Xerek's eyes softened. "You are more than just a guardian. You are my friend." Vorin's lips curled into a rare smile, and a warrior worthy of legend. Liam felt tears sting his eyes, his chest swelling with emotion. He took a deep breath, his voice steady. "Let's go home." They stepped through the portal, the golden light surrounding them as the cavern collapsed behind them. The battle was over, but the journey was far from finished. Victory and farewell. The golden light of the portal faded, and Liam stumbled forward, his feet landing on familiar ground. The cold night air hit his face, and he looked around, his heart skipping a beat. He was back in his backyard, the same place where it all began. The garden was untouched, his house standing peacefully under the starlit sky. It was as if nothing had happened, but everything had changed. Xerek and Vorin stepped through the portal behind him, their armor dimming as the energy dispersed. The portal closed with a soft hum, the golden light fading into the night. Xerek's eyes softened as it looked at the house. "Your world. It is beautiful." Liam's chest tightened. He had almost lost it all, his home, his family, his world. But they had won. The Shadow Warlord was defeated, his darkness erased. Earth was safe. Vorin's gaze was distant, his face unreadable. The Warlord's power was immense. Even in death, his influence lingers. The shadows will take time to heal. Xerek's shoulders slumped, its body heavy with exhaustion. "We did what we had to. But the Star Core's energy is unstable. It is too powerful to remain here." Liam's heart sank. He looked down at his hands, his body still glowing softly with the golden aura. He could feel the Star Core within him, its power pulsing in his chest. It was warm, alive, but also heavy, a burden he didn't know how to carry. What do I do now?" he whispered, his voice trembling. "I can't control this. I don't even understand it." Xerek placed a hand on his shoulder, its eyes filled with compassion. "The Star Core chose you because of your heart, your courage. But its power is not meant for this world. It belongs to the realm beyond, where light and darkness are balanced." Liam's chest tightened. "You mean I have to let it go?" Vorin's eyes softened, his voice gentle. "Yes, the Star Core is a bridge, a connection between worlds. If it remains here, it will tear your world apart." Liam looked at the house, his eyes stinging with tears. His parents were inside, asleep, unaware of the battle that had just saved their lives. He thought about his friends, his school, his normal life. He wanted to go back to that, to be normal again. But he knew things would never be the same. He turned to Xerek, his voice shaking. Will I ever see you again?" Xerek's eyes dimmed, its face heavy with sadness. "The Star Core's journey is not yet over. I must protect it, guide it back to its realm. My duty is not here." Liam's heart ached. He had only known Xerek for a short time, but they had faced so much together. They had fought side by side, risked their lives for each other. Xerox wasn't just an alien warrior. He was his friend. Vorin stepped forward, his silver armor gleaming under the moonlight. You are stronger than you realize, Liam. You faced the darkness, and you chose light. That courage will always be with you. Liam looked at them, his vision blurred with tears. I don't want to say goodbye. Sarek's hand tightened on his shoulder, its voice warm and gentle. Goodbyes are not forever. Our paths may cross again. Someday. Liam wiped his eyes, his heart heavy. Will you remember me? Sarek's eyes gleamed, its mouth curving into a rare, soft smile. Always. Vorin's eyes glowed with blue light as he raised his hand, a portal forming behind them. It swirled with golden energy, bright and beautiful. It is time. The star core must return to its realm. Liam felt the energy within him stir, the golden light growing brighter. It was warm, comforting, like a farewell hug. He took a deep breath, his chest tightening. Will I forget you? Xerox shook its head, its fiery eyes gentle. No, the memories will remain. You are the guardian. You carry the light within you. Liam closed his eyes, letting the tears fall. Thank you for everything. Xerox's voice was soft, filled with emotion. No, thank you, Liam. You saved me. You saved us all. The light grew brighter, surrounding Liam, wrapping around him like a warm embrace. He felt the star core's energy leaving him, drifting toward the portal. It glowed brightly, golden and beautiful, before vanishing into the light. The portal began to close, the golden energy swirling as it faded. Xerox turned to face him one last time, its eyes shining. Farewell, guardian of light. Until we meet again. Liam's heart broke as he watched them step through the portal, their forms glowing as they disappeared into the light. The portal closed with a soft hum, the golden glow fading into the night. Silence filled the air. The stars twinkled above, the world peaceful once more. But Liam felt hollow, his chest aching with loss. He stood there, staring at the spot where the portal had been, his eyes wet with tears. He didn't know how long he stood there, the cold night air biting at his skin. Eventually, he turned and walked back into his house, his steps heavy. He climbed into bed, his body exhausted, his heart aching. But as he closed his eyes, a warmth filled his chest. It was faint, barely noticeable, but it was there. A small golden light, pulsing softly within him. A part of the star core still remained. A piece of its light, its memory. He could feel it, like a whisper, a promise that he was not alone. Liam smiled, his heart easing. Until we meet again, Xerox. His eyes closed, his body relaxing as sleep finally took him. And for the first time since that fateful night, he dreamed of golden light, of friendship, of courage, and of hope.